What's up, guys? Welcome to the very first episode of the YC Summer Show. My name's Ryan. I get to be your host every week as we have a whole bunch of fun together and help keep you connected to YouthCrossing all summer long. Now, every Wednesday at 6:30, we'll be premiering a new episode of the Summer Show on YouTube and IGTV. But don't worry, if you miss one, you can always catch it later. And if you're watching on the YouTube premiere live with us now, make sure and say hey to us in the chat. We'll be hanging there every week. We'd love to hear from you and hear what your favorite parts of the show are. Now, normally summer at YouthCrossing means YC Summer Tour and all kinds of cool things that we get to do together. But since we can't gather all together right now, we thought we would do our best to keep the fun coming to you. So, without further ado, whatever that phrase actually means, check this out.
What a shot.
I'm good. Where are they at?
I like how you grabbed two.
Dude, you always grab if you have the ability. Well, that was so much fun. And I think what we learned is that none of us can throw very well, and that running back and forth is hard to do when you've been sitting on the couch in quarantine for 3 months. But seriously, it was fun. It was shot on the first day that our youth team got to be back together and have an outside meeting. And I gotta tell you, just being able to see each other face to face, even through masks, was so good. And we know that you guys have been missing friends, and so at YouthCrossing, we're looking at every way we can to plan things for you to hang out with your friends throughout the summer. So as things open up, we'll be making announcements here on the show of ways that we can maybe connect in person, so be on the lookout for those. Now that's good news, right? Speaking of good news, we thought it would be cool to bring you some good news here on the show every week in a segment we're calling That's Good.
Hey YouthCrossing, and welcome to the very first episode of That's Good. We're here to share good news with you. It can be big news, it can be little news, but it has to be good news. I'm your host, Angela, and I get to be a youth ministry associate at our Fenton campus. And with me today, I have my sister Jenica, who's also a former YC student. Hello. Jen, would you like to kick us off by telling us something good in the world this week?
Yes, if you're keeping up with the Kardashians, Kim and Kanye just celebrated their 6th wedding anniversary. That's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's good.
We wanted to start by sharing some YouthCrossing official good news. The first one seems kind of like bad news, but we don't really do that here, so hang in there. We wanted to remind you that there are no official small groups this summer. That's really just so your small group leaders can get a rest and come back in the fall and remember why they like hanging out with you. Just kidding. But it is some time for you guys to spend time with your families and just kind of relax this summer. But we do want you to stay connected with your small group. So talk to each other. I know y'all have group me's. Talk about ways you can stay connected. Speaking of staying connected, a really great way to keep up with all things YC related is to follow us on social media. If you don't do that already, you can just search at YouthCrossing, follow us on Instagram. You can also find us on Facebook. And finally, if you want to make sure you stay current with all the events we're planning this summer, as things start to open up, a really good way to get the most up-to-date information is to sign up for our text messages. You can actually just text YouthCrossing, one word, to the number 48099.
That's good.
Y'all, we know we're not the only ones with good news this week. In fact, we got a chance to hear from a few YouthCrossing students from all of our different campuses about things that are good for them this week.
Yeah, first we heard from Jaden from Fenton. Her good news is that she finished the semester with all A's and B's. Way to go, Jaden!
Way to go, Jaden! Billy from Mid Rivers also has some good news. He is starting his baseball season this week, and he gets to play his first game on Thursday. Very
Ooh,
exciting.
go Billy!
It's cool to see some of those sports seasons opening up a little bit.
Yeah, that's super nice. Ava from Grants Trail has also shared some good news with us. She, like a lot of you, has had to take a break from hanging out with her friends during quarantine, but this weekend her best friend got to come over for Memorial Day barbecue and says it was so good to reconnect.
Oh yeah, that Memorial Day barbecue. Everyone is doing it. Okay, so our last good news is from Cade. He's a senior from Chesterfield. He shared with us that over the quarantine, it was actually kind of scary for a little bit because his dad was diagnosed with cancer, but the doctors were able to identify it early, and for the past month he's been completely cancer-free, which is amazing.
So good.
That's good.
Well, y'all, that's all we have for today. Thanks for joining us. Be safe, have fun, and stay good.
Thanks, Ange and Jenica, for sharing some good news with us, and we want to hear your good news. So DM us on social or send us an email, and maybe we'll get to share your good news on the show in the future. Now, these days, it seems like we all need an extra reason to smile, and so we hope this next segment puts a smile on your face. I don't really know how else to set it up except to say that a while back, our good friend Ryan Musinski got himself a green screen, and we couldn't miss the opportunity to share whatever random craziness he came up with. So, check this out.
What's up? I have a delivery for Ryan. Are you Ryan? Well, you look like a Ryan, so I'm gonna leave this with you. Congratulations. Enjoy it. All right, sir. Will you enjoy that and have a fantastic day? I've got a delivery for Ryan. Are you Ryan? Well, I'm gonna leave this with you. You enjoy. All right, sir. Have have a great day. Enjoy it. Oh, hey, what's up? I have a delivery for Ryan. You're Ryan, right? Okay, well, I will leave this with you. All right, sir. Have a great day. Enjoy it.
Well, next time you hear a knock at the door, it could be Ryan Muzinski bringing something weird to you. Or it could just be Amazon coming to your house for like the 4th time in the day. Oh, gosh.
I have a delivery.
No!
Delivery
No!
for Ryan. Are you Ryan?
I actually am. I actually am Ryan.
Awesome.
Oh, I love it. This is great. Okay. Okay, well, our time for today is almost up. And for our last segment, we were planning on taking some time and answering some of your tough spiritual questions. But with all that's been happening in our communities this last week, we decided to put that on hold, and we want to share with you a part of an important conversation between our lead pastor, Greg Holder, and one of our pastors, Anthony Myers, who also serves on our leadership team.
I wanted you and I to talk. This was your idea. This wasn't my idea. You wanted us to talk. You thought this would be a good idea.
Yeah, I did.
To just post this.
Yeah. You know, you and I have these conversations all the time. We talk about race, we talk about justice, we talk about the church, we talk about a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And very open and raw conversations.
Yeah.
And I know that every time something happens, it becomes heart-wrenching. But then with this, it was so in your face. It was so blatant. And the frustrating piece of it is it's not an isolated event.
Right.
And that's the piece that is so heartbreaking for me and for people that look like me.
Yeah.
Who've had these conversations over and over and over again. And it hurts. I mean, people say, how do you feel? I'm mad, I'm frustrated, I'm pissed. It just there, I told Marilyn I was doing this and I was like, I just don't want to cuss. That is the extent of sometimes beyond words. And these are very turbulent times.
I am so sorry. I'm just so sorry. I am sickened. I'm angry. I'm outraged. And I told you yesterday, I can't even imagine what it's like to be a black man in America. I can't even imagine what you're feeling. Anthony, I lament where we are. I lament my own mistakes. I tell you this every time we talk about race. I'm not qualified to do this. I'm not qualified to talk to you about this because I got my own mistakes that I've made out of my own ignorance and my own poverty of relationship. But the closer I've grown to what I believe is God's truth on this, my heart just hurts. And it pales in comparison to what you're feeling. And I guess I want to just know, what do we do now? This isn't, by the way, for anybody who's going, oh boy, how long is this going to be? You and I both said this isn't going to be a marathon, but you kind of wanted people to hear just the way we talk to each other.
I mean, it's true. And we don't always agree. We come from different perspectives sometimes, but we recognize evil is evil. Hatred is hatred. Racism is racism. And there's no getting around that. And there's no way to pretty it up or make it palatable for anybody. But I have to fashion in my own mind that I have to play the long game at this. Because if I don't, I would be irate and I would have no margin for anybody else. I wouldn't listen anymore. And this is not just, it's young black males and police. That's not it. It's right. Broader than that.
Right.
You know.
So you said something.
Yeah, go ahead.
You said something earlier though about just how I don't know if you used the word obvious, but it is this incident we're talking about was obvious. So all the time people will talk to us about how complicated this issue is. And you know, our racial history in this country is complicated and not good. This one was there's nothing complicated here. Nobody gets to say, yeah, but, or I think there's another perspective. Am I off on this?
Well, here's the point. For many of them, on our perspective, they're not complicated.
Right,
Okay?
right.
Because here's what's happening. And here's what's going to happen with this, like all the rest of them. He was killed, and now a certain portion of society is going to begin to demonize him. Well, you know he was this, you know he was that, you know. No, that's what happened last couple of weeks with Arbery, who was jogging. Well, you know, all this, he was shot dead in the streets.
Right.
You know, so they're not complicated. I think we make them complicated because we don't want to face the truth. And we often think of them as isolated incidents. And I call it the canary in the coal mine. 1800s, 1900s, canaries would go into the coal mine with miners in Europe and later in the United States. And the canary was going in there because as the air would get bad, okay, then it picked up carbon dioxide. When it started breathing heavily or pass out, we need to get out of here. But oftentimes that canary might die and they say, we have a little bit more time. Or they just get another canary. And every once in a while, miners would die, but they'd keep on doing it rather than listening to canary in the coal mine and recognizing there's something toxic in here that we need to address.
Right.
And they're not isolated incidents.
Right.
My greatest frustration is just go back to Trayvon Martin, which was just 8 years ago. And people kept saying, this is a problem. And people would say, well, that protesting, that's a little bit too much. That's canary in the coal mine. Black Lives Matter started with Trayvon Martin, not in St. Louis. That was a canary in the coal mine saying there's a problem. When Colin Kaepernick knelt down and saying, hey, there's an issue here. Those are canaries in the coal mine saying these things are happening. They're not isolated incidents. There's a toxicity that we in the Black community feel every day and saying, hey, everybody, look at this. There's a problem here.
So let me ask.
Well, I know for so many of you, this week has been painful, saddening, and frustrating. And it's more important now than ever for us to listen to and learn from and pray for each other. And so I'm so grateful for leaders like Greg and Anthony who are showing us what it looks like to have these kinds of conversations in an open, honest, and loving way. I'd encourage you to go watch the full conversation between Greg and Anthony by clicking the link below or clicking the link in our Instagram bio. And that brings us to the end of our show today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being a part of Youth Crossing. We'll see you next week on episode 2 of the YC Summer Show. What do you think? This is good.